We are back here on Girl Talk. Yes, it is the Bruce Hour. It is so good to see you.
Great to see
and,
you too.
You know, it's so funny. We've got so much to talk about today. So last time we started talking about aging.
Yes.
We talked about financial planning.
Yes.
And I started digging because I was really curious about what a long-term care plan really looks like and how someone like you can actually help me manage through it. And one of the most interesting things that I learned was you can actually help me in decisions like, how do I tell my mom or dad they can't drive? And when should I do that? And how do I do that? And I giggle when I talk about that with you because you're a car aficionado. I mean, that is your passion also.
Yeah, just try taking a car away from somebody.
That's right. And I never had thought about that. With my dad, it was kind of a natural thing.
Yeah.
But I always wondered, so what is your advice when it comes to long-term planning? And is that part of the long-term plan?
It is part of the long-term plan because people can get hurt by driving a car if they drive too long. But it's a very delicate problem. I've gone through it many times with the clients, and there's no easy answer. Usually it takes an accident.
Okay.
Or if they're mature, they realize that they can't do it, or they have a family member that starts driving them, to everywhere as a convenience.
That's right. And it's kind of nice
and
not to have. Yeah.
They lose it kind of naturally. That's what happened in my family.
Is it really?
Yes.
What was really interesting is you said that you are constantly evolving and learning.
Yes.
And you said just recently a client introduced you to something that you really didn't know much about.
Yes, it was custodianship. It's totally different than power of attorney.
So what does that mean?
Well, that was it. I'd never thought of custodianships, but on my trip this next week to see my mother, who's 95, I'm going to make sure that the attorneys who we're meeting with set up a custodianship situation where my sister has power of attorney, which is fine, but what happens to her?
Oh.
Okay, now do you establish a new power of attorney? No, because power of attorneys only do so much. Okay. And what I've learned is that custodianship is a better way to handle an adult who is aging because it has continuity.
Okay, so explain that to me. So instead of my dad who's 92, use me, I'm 67,
Yes.
I've got kids.
Yes.
So what would that look like for them, for me?
Right. You have, it's like having a trust. You have people in line to take care of the trust or manage the trust or benefit from the trust. And a custodianship, I'm finding out, is exactly the same type of thing. Mm-hmm. It takes care of an elderly parent with a continuity.
So it's more seamless.
Yeah.
It's not like, where's this, where's that?
Right. It's actually handling every aspect of their life, putting them in a nursing home, doing whatever it takes to manage their lives.
How would you help structure that for both the aging adult and the adult children who would be the custodial agents?
Yeah. It's not something that you need when somebody is alive and well and everything's going well. But that's exactly when you should do it.
Yeah,
exactly. When you don't need things, that's when you should do it.
I think that's the thing that you've taught me more than anything. Err on the side of being proactive, do it now, have it in place, and familiarize yourself with all of this.
Yes, everybody thinks of power of attorneys.
Okay.
I do, you do, everybody does. But it's really custodianship that protects the elderly parent.
And so what does that look like? Would they have say over my money, my finance?
Every aspect.
Okay.
Because if they have any assets that aren't in a trust. Okay, that's why trusts are so important to move your parents' assets into a trust so that there is continuity. Mm-hmm. All right, but if the assets are not in a trust and they don't get there and something happens to them prior to getting there, you better have a custodianship.
Oh my God. So what is the initial, action plan? I call you and I say, help.
Help. Yeah, I'm going to say, let's talk to your attorney and CPA, and I give them a list of assets, and summaries. I call the attorney or the CPA and get referrals for an attorney, whatever it takes. And then you sit down and you, like I'm going to do with my mother's CPA and attorney next week. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, do a custodianship. If my sister passes away, I have no control.
Oh, geez. So
I have access to the trust, but that's only a part of her life.
Okay.
So this is critical. My clients have taught me this because of that problem, especially if your parents are out of town in another state, you're living in another state. It's very complicated.
Well, it's interesting because my brothers are in Texas and in Chicago.
Right.
And so if something happened to my sister and I, they would have,
Exactly.
And so it really can encompass the whole family.
Exactly. It's a continuity planning, which doesn't even think about all the other things that can happen.
Yes.
Okay. So it supersedes, in my opinion, the power of attorney, which is kind of a local time thing. It's okay but if something happens to you, they're cooked.
Bruce, one of the things I really love about having you on is you have a gift of giving us what I call a takeaway. So every time you've come on, every single time you've come on, we have ended with something that is practical and implementable, if that's even a word. So I'm very grateful for you coming on. It's a little chilly out here today, although the fishermen are out here. We want to thank you. We want to thank all of you for joining us here on Girl Talk. Please have a safe and wonderful week. Bye-bye.